Let's bring in Texas Congressman Ronny Jackson, member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and author of the upcoming book, Holding the Line. Are we doing the right things, Congressman?
No, Brian, we're not. And we should have been doing a lot of stuff months ago. There's a window of opportunity to make a difference in issues like this. This has been building for months. The Biden administration has known about this. They've had multiple opportunities to do things that would have stopped it from getting to where it's at right now. But right now we have a situation where Ukraine's surrounded. They're surrounded by the Russians right now. They have troops and they have aircraft in Belarus up to their north. They have a massive amount of troops to their east in Russia, and they have ships and troops in Crimea and the Black Sea. They're literally surrounded right now. They are postured. They're going to invade any day now. This is going to happen. The Russians are going to come in and they're going to take Ukraine. And there's not much we can do about it at this particular point because of the failed leadership in the Biden administration. I've been saying all the time, the Biden administration is setting up just a repetitive process of crisis and failed leadership. And in the Biden administration, unfortunately, crisis and failed leadership leads to more crisis and failed leadership. And that's what we're seeing right here. And this is a direct result, some of this, of what happened months ago in Afghanistan, where we abandoned our NATO allies and left them behind. They don't trust us anymore. So now we're trying to build an alliance with NATO to do something about what's going on. And they're very skittish about helping us. Look what Germany's basically dragging their feet saying, no, we're not so sure. We're not going to do anything. And this will ultimately end up in causing a lot of problems long term because NATO's not going to be respected or even maybe as capable as they've been in the past in boxing in Russia and their aggressive behavior.
Congressman, a lot of people, some on the right, are saying, hey, wait a second. I don't want to get involved with a fight with the Ukrainians. What do we care about the Ukraine for? We should be focusing on China. What's your reaction to that?
Well, we should be focusing on China, but we should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, and we should be focusing on what's going on in Ukraine, too. I don't want to get in a fight in Ukraine either, and we're not going to send troops into Ukraine. It's not a NATO country. We're not going to send ground troops in there, American troops in there. But we should have done things with our NATO allies that border Ukraine months ago to stop this from actually happening. This is Russian aggression. It won't stop. Vladimir Putin's mindset is he wants to reestablish the old Soviet Union. We've seen that for a long time now, and he's going to start with Ukraine, and then who knows what's next. It could be Poland. It could be Hungary. It could be one of our NATO countries. And then we're going to be in a bad spot because we're going to be obligated to help these people because they're members of NATO. So we have to pay attention to this kind of stuff. But China's watching, and we're going to be dealing with China next. China will be the next crisis and the next failed leadership on the Biden administration.
Hey, 38 warplanes flew over Taiwan over the weekend. So let's talk about a border we don't seem to care about or at least the White House doesn't, and that's the southern border, especially the huge one that borders Texas. So far, between 2021 and 2022, we're looking at right now 218,000 encounters in the first quarter already, 518 and 360 encounters in the first quarter in 2022. That's a huge increase. The weather's going to get nicer. It's going to get worse. This is supposed to be a slow time. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel here? Is there any hope? You're in Washington. Is any Democrat saying, I'm as concerned as you?
None. Henry Cuellar is the only person I've heard on the Democrat side that's been talking about what's going on the border. The rest of them, it's crickets. They don't even mention it. They act like the border's not actually even happening. And we've had over 2 million people cross illegally that we know about that have crossed our border. And we've had thousands and thousands of others that have crossed our border that we don't know about, that are bringing drugs and violent criminals across our border. And this is going to be a huge crisis for our country for decades to come. Look at the number one cause of death in young males right now in this country is drug overdose. That is directly related to the heroin, the methamphetamine, and the fentanyl that's crossing this border every single day because Biden has failed to secure our border. And they're doing it because they legitimately think that these people are going to come across and they're going to get citizenship at some point or at least get the ability to vote. And they're determined that that's going to happen. And they're going to get as many over here as they can. There's no incentive to stop this right now. The Biden administration early on removed every incentive that President Trump had put in place to stop this kind of stuff. And it just opened the floodgates. And there's no attempt to close those floodgates now. We have 1,000 things we could be doing. None of it is being done.
So you've spent as much time in the White House as anybody, being the physician for President Bush, Obama, and Trump. Have you ever heard an exchange quite like this that took place yesterday?
Do you think inflation is a political liability ahead of the midterms?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son.
So it was one of those hot mic moments. What's your reaction to it?
Oh, it's completely unprofessional. It's embarrassing. And I've seen this multiple times with people of the president's age that are starting to have cognitive issues. They get short-tempered. They get irritable. They strike out. It's a defense mechanism to some extent when they don't know exactly how to answer questions or what's going on around them. He's got cognitive issues. He's not fit to be our head of state or our commander-in-chief. And we can see this on multiple fronts, including what's happening, domestically and overseas. And it's shameful that he would say something like that to a reporter.
And it happened. He did call a little bit later and kind of clarified. Thanks so much, Congressman Jackson. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brian.